broadcasting and streaming live all across America. This is HomeTalkUSA with Michael King, where we will discuss topics pertaining to your home with industry-leading experts. Michael King is a licensed general contractor with more than 30 years of experience in home improvements and the author of Contracting with the King. Join us this hour for our segment Invent America with your co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton. Discover what's next in the home improvement industry and explore new products and innovations. Or if you have that next great big idea, learn what it takes to bring your invention to the world. As Michael King and Rita Crompton talk to America's inventors and innovators. Remember, the America of tomorrow is being invented today. We invite you to visit us at HomeTalkUSA.com, one of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, we proudly present Invent America from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country, Home Talk USA, with your host, the Cajun contractor, Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
All right, that's right. This is Home Talk USA. Welcome all of you to the Invent America part of Home Talk USA. We got a great show for you, so we should hope you stay with us. And hey, we are streaming live on the World Wide Web at HomeTalkUSA.com. And now I'd like to welcome my co-host and sidekick, the Inventor Lady herself, Miss Rita Crompton. Rita, how you doing, my girl?
Hey, Michael, it's so nice to be here with you. And, we're talking about a topic today that is near and dear to our hearts, and it is finding that magical trade show. So how long have you been going to professional trade shows, Michael?
27 years.
Holy mackerel. They've been around for a long time.
Well, Rita, there's a couple of shows. Now, we're going to have to separate it right now because one trade show is what we call a closed show. It's a show for the industry, and there is your local trade shows, and usually it's by your local home builders association, which is open to the public. So we can kind of go to both shows, but there is two shows. One, a consumer cannot walk in, and the other one is a trade show for the industry, right?
Right. And I always tell inventors, when you're in the beginning, I mean, how many times do we start a conversation with that one? They're looking to learn. Going through one of the consumer shows is not a bad place to go and look at packaging types of things, looking at price points. But it's not where I want them wasting their money to go and get a booth, because now they're selling ones and twos. I want them to work their way into that professional show. And you're exactly right. You've got to have credentials. You can't walk in off the street and buy a ticket. And so for some of those guys, they're looking at easily $5 to $10 grand just to get a 10 by 10, because you got to pay for everything to rent, including the trash can.
Yeah, if you go to a local trade show, say it's an industry show for the consumer, that's what I call a retail show. So you should be established, is what I'm saying. Your product should be on your website or have some type of distribution. But that's what we're talking about on the end, where on a trade show that we go to an industry show is basically companies, manufacturers, entrepreneurs, inventors is either trying to get a licensing deal or trying to get a distributor, right?
Right, absolutely. When we were at ASD Market Week in March, half of our inventors there were taking orders because they had inventory. And it was a great place. The variety there was better than I've seen any place else. I mean, there was everything from ladies' fashion and baby products to, the traditional tools that we would see at some of the other shows, and the processes and everything for building. So it was a great do-it-yourself place for, inventors to be when they were selling products and finding information. But it was great then in a lot of different categories, from the pet products and toys to, like I said, fashion. Their line is everything from dustpans to diamonds. I like to think everything from, diapers to diamonds, but I like the diamond part.
Well, Home Talk USA and the Invent America show is probably about 10 years ahead of itself of what we do. A lot of times this technology is not even available on the market yet. And I know we like to try to report to our audience, our listeners, of the technologies that's coming up the pike that might not be available, but hold on, it's coming. It's coming available. So that's the key. What we do, you and me, Rita, is to get it out there. And but to be honest with you, our show is 10 years ahead of everybody else because a lot of times it's 4 or 5 years before the product even gets to the retail market.
Exactly. And we've been working more and more with inventors who have got some pretty good technology getting out there. And so, our job is to help them understand the process and to minimize mistakes because one mistake can kill you. And then get teed up for the best show. And I'll tell inventors, it's like, you shouldn't be going to ASD Market Week with us. You should be going to the Consumer Electronics Show. There is a trade show for every industry.
Yes.
And, whereas we can learn a lot going together and testing it out and seeing what, how to show a product. But then when you get down and dirty to it, you need to go to the one that's fit for your industry.
Well, to be honest with you, with me, it's always touch, feel, and look and see it. And, a lot of times in my early years, people didn't know who the Cajun man was. I can walk into a booth and kind of be a spy, get the presentation, let them give me their sales presentation and not tell them who I was. And then, but over the years, Rita, you saw, I can't, I'm kind of a celebrity when I walk into a booth. Everybody knows who the Cajun man is. I can't disguise myself anymore after 27 years. But I don't want people to be on their best behavior, though. I don't want them to act. I want them to be natural. How would they present their product to a buyer is the same way I want them to present it to us, right?
Well, and the big thing that inventors are learning when they present to us, all right. And when they walk by, I mean, we see a lot of people at, ASD Market Week that come by to see us because they've got a new product they're working on, which is great. It's a learning curve. And so when they start telling, it's like, you need to understand that when you're talking to someone, they're busy. They want you to answer 4 questions quickly. The first interview is about 15 seconds. Practice it in front of the mirror. Because, you've got to be aware of people's time. They're trying to go to, 1,000 booths in 3 days. So they're looking to get through it quickly.
Well, also, Rita, I try to tell them, product videos are fine. Everybody had a product video. But I'm going to be honest with you, they don't stop anymore to watch this. But what I try to tell them, that if we can get them to do our TV part of it, our TV recording, people are more likely to watch a television show than a product video. And I need to tell you, the last trade show I was in, we had 5 sponsors that sponsor Home Talk. And boy, they had their television show, sitting there. And we had an audience. And of course, it made me feel good when I would walk in and, you're the guy on that television. Yeah, I'm the guy on that TV. Well, man, where's your entourage? Where's your agent? No, it's just me. It's just me.
Yep. No, it's fun. And we were doing the same thing with, radio there. We had the equipment all set up and the lights and everything. And it was so cool. And people just walk by and say, well, what's going on? And, they would come back and want to visit with us. And a lot of the ASD folks had never seen it before. So they wanted to come by and talk and everything. So it did make a big difference being there. And you're right. You've got to be able to touch and feel the products. People want to look the inventor in the eye. They want them to explain what it is that their intellectual property is on. And you can't do that with video. And you just can't do it virtually either.
Well, Rita, we're going to be taking a short break shortly once I get the cue. Once my producer says, hey, quit talking, we got to pay some bills. But just give us a little brief of what the show's about.
Well, today we're going to be talking about how do you pick the right trade show. I get so many folks that are, they mistake the consumer versus the professional. They really don't know how to go and find one. They might go to a local one and spend as much money as if they'd gone to a national one. So we're going to walk through some of those. The first person that we've got on has never been to a show, just got his product up and running. He's been to a couple local things. And then the other one has been to several. And then we have Stephanie from ASD Market Week, who is our industry expert.
A lot going on here at HomeTalkUSA. And Rita, I tell you what, we're going to be taking a short break in about a minute, and we got some great guests coming up. But how can they learn a little bit more about how to get on the show? Let's talk about that. Because, man, we get a lot of emails and texts. And, man, because you said it the other day, we had somebody from Texas listening to it and say, hey, man, how can I get my product in the market?
That's exactly right. And it's really easy. You go to invent-america.com and you click on want to be on the radio show and fill out the form, and you know what, it drops right into my email box. And that's the people that we've got on today. That's how I found them. Is that last week they filled out the form to be on the radio, and I called them.
Hey, we invite all our listeners. We do broadcasts here on the Home Improvement Broadcasting Network at 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock Central Time every Saturday. But hey, you can go to HomeTalkUSA.com, check out our podcast, and we're 24/7, 365. So if you happen to miss our live radio show on Saturdays, hey, you can catch it anytime at your convenience. So we're going to take a short break. This is Home Talk USA alone with my sidekick, the Inventor Lady herself, Rita Crompton. We'll be right back. Yay! Yay! Welcome back. This is Home Talk USA. This is the Inventor America part of our radio program. We do invite you to listen to the show each week and every week. Just go to HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, Rita, we have some great guests. So who's our first guest today on the Invent America show?
Our first guest is William Lewis. William invented Will's Awesome Grills. And I remember talking to you a few months ago, William. And you go by Will, correct?
Yes.
That's what I saw in all your contact information. So, thanks so much for being with us today. We are grateful. I know this is something that you have been working on for a long time. Tell our audience about Will's Awesome Grills.
Well, I wanted to come out with something that I hadn't seen nobody done nationwide. And what I came up with was nobody's came out with grilling out and cooking with bonfire incorporated into the same unit, to where you can cook out and then have a bonfire around the same unit that you just cooked your food with.
Well, and that's, you're from Tennessee. I'm from Tennessee. We do a lot of those bonfire type things. My daughter's in Utah. They do a lot. Oh, yeah. I have a daughter in Pittsburgh, too. And they always want to be able to have the bonfire. So I think this is a wonderful product.
And on top of that, I've made the designs interchangeable. And that way, that helps in mass production, where it could be sold by mass production with all the cooking features. But yet, for the custom order of business logos or designs or whatever people are wanting, they come to us locally and order that will fit our grill.
That's excellent. You wanted people to be able to go to you, find you on Facebook, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And what would they look for?
20,000 followers.
Wow, that's great.
20,000 followers. Yeah.
That is great. So what would they go in and search for on Facebook to find you?
Will's Awesome Grills LLC with a TM on the end.
All right. So pretty straightforward, everybody. Will's Awesome Grills, no apostrophe in there between the Will and the S for the possessive. I'm an old grammar teacher, so, what can I say? All right. So, Will, have you been to a professional trade show yet? Professional, where you had to have credentials to get in?
No.
All right. So you've been to some local shows showing off your grills, right?
Yes, we were at Memphis in May a couple years ago, and some other places.
All right. So now you're starting to look for those professional shows to go to so that you can really get your product out there, right?
Yes. My goal has never been to try and make a living with our handmade grills, because they're too expensive to make and make a profit at.
So what is your goal? What is, where do you want to be in 5 years, Will?
I want to have mass production going on and have people ordering their local designs and logos from us locally that we can cut out, and it will fit the manufactured grill that they bought.
All right. One of my goals is to get you to ASD Market Week with us next year.
Yes.
So would love to have you go, but there's going to be other, there is the outdoor living show in Chicago.
Hey, how many people are you talking about?
So when you go to the outdoor living show, when you go with us to a show, you kind of are growing up. You see what is out there, you see how to do it, how to show. But then there's a lot of inventors who will go then to that next level show by themselves and foot the bill. And that's that can get expensive if you don't know how to gauge it.
So far, I spent a ton of my money. I've gotten to set up with China manufacturing, and after 2 years of working with a product development engineer, we got our prototype, and I have it at my residence right now. We got it January or February of this year that we've been working real hard on, and we've gotten the pricing on manufacturing and everything so far.
So when do you expect that you will be able to sell product? When do you think you're going to have inventory in?
Well, right now I'm dealing with their minimum order quantity. Their MOQ is 300, so I got to have 300 orders ready to pay them if I'm going to continue doing this on my own and go that route.
All right. So you've got some goals set for yourself, and working on it and keeping your day job to pay for it.
Yep.
It's amazing how many inventors, it's like, well, I got to keep my day job so I can pay for this habit I've got of inventing.
Yeah.
So you've had help from family members, right? It's not unusual. We always kind of laugh and say the 3 F's are, friends, family, and other fools. We've redefined that as the 3 F's as being faith, focus, and filter.
So far, I've had a line of credit of $150,000, and that's gotten me to set up with China manufacturing and the engineers and filing for a non-provisional utility patent and trademarks and all the website and all this stuff involved.
It's amazing, isn't it? Well, and once you get to this point now, marketing, that can be a real expensive piece of the puzzle. So what we look at is, all the different ways that people can market their product. And when you go to a professional show, for what it costs you, that's probably the most valuable use of money because it costs the least amount.
Yeah, so I was thinking if I can ever get the grills into a hardware store in some place like that, the grills could actually come with one steel plate with their, whether it's Ace Hardware Outdoors, and have a deer scene, one bonfire plate to get them started. So, and the factory could do something like that as long as they're making many of one kind of plate, If that's what's going to sell, I'm sure they would be happy making Ace Hardware Outdoors and have a deer scene or something just to get people started with their bonfires.
That's true. And, it is not unusual that a local ACE will take a local inventor's product.
Some of them are run by corporate and some of them are individually owned.
Right. And so that's why some of them, if you go in and ask and, find out who's doing the independently, sometimes they'll take them on consignment. So even though they may not buy them, it gives you a place to go and show them and get the word out. Sometimes depending on their parking lot, they'll actually let you go and do kind of a testimonial, you get feedback from people on what they think. And sometimes that can be very valuable then for getting into some of the other ACEs. Yeah. So there's lots of things that you can do.
We have a product that people can just look at the bonfire and say, "Man, I want one of them." Just from it's got that eye candy that appeal that people just look at it and say, "I want one of them."
Well, that's wonderful. And Will, we want you to send us some video. If you can send me a link to some video, if you've got some on YouTube, you've got some on, Facebook, send me the link so we can go and grab it. So that way we can get it up on our site as well. And, get you out there for all of America to see.
Yesterday, I was smoking meat with our grill and I made barbecue, which I've done that many times before. That's just one of the many features that it has. But I'd send people to Facebook because that's where a lot of my videos are.
Excellent. Well, we can grab the link, and that way then people can go ahead and, be able to get there and see it and get everything done. So, Will, thanks so much for being with us today. We are very grateful. We want to be able to help you get out there, and it's time for us to go and be able to pay some bills and let all of America know we do invent America because America invents. Stick with us, everybody. We've got another inventor coming right up.
Welcome back to Home Talk USA with Michael King. Do you have questions about your next home improvement project or home repairs? Now you can chat with verified home repair and home improvement experts in just minutes. Get the help you need by visiting HomeTalkUSA.com, one of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, back to Invent America from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country. Home Talk USA with your host, the Cajun contractor Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for being with us for Invent America, because America invents. And we do want to thank our sponsors. So a big shout out to Noah at Product Quick Start and Addison Shelton at Kicker Design. And if you are out there as an inventor and looking for a good service provider, let us know, because we have got vetted service providers in every area. If you go to our website, Invent-America, you can see the sponsors, and our good service providers are sponsors for Invent America. And our next inventor is Mike Martin, and he is a lifelong inventor, has a product that has been in the marketplace for a couple of decades, Mike? A long time you've been doing this. So you've been to these professional trade shows and how valuable they can be. So Mike, tell our listening audience what you've invented, how you've done with it, and then we'll talk more about professional trade shows.
Yeah, so the two products I invented that I took to market, one is the heavyweight scrub brush. That's the one I've been working on for 29 years, put it in 6,000 McDonald's, been in a long fight with all that, changing the way people do things. The other one is my Cool and Curve beverage chiller, which is just a better way to chill your favorite beverage. It has a curved bottom, so when you use a regular standard ice bucket, you can't get a bottle into the ice. And so we curve the bottom, and so when you push the bottle in, the ice rotates around the curve and onto the bottle for a perfect chill every time. So it makes for a perfect gift. So
that's wonderful. So where are you in the process with that one? Because my understanding is that one is for more of a consumer product than the other one is.
Yeah, right now it is. Yeah. We've sold thousands of them, and we're just trying to get it direct to consumer. So we're trying to go to the infomercial type people. And so we have inventory. We have a manufacturer here in Houston. We also have it in Taiwan, but we're just getting set up and ready to go. So.
All right. So you're going to send me then the website. I've got your website. We're going to post that for you. If you've got video, either on a website that you want us to grab, we'll go ahead and do that, so that we can help you get the word out there to all of America. Because, the show is called Invent America because America invents, but America also buys. And so, all of our audience is either an inventor or a buyer. And that's wonderful because, for those folks who, aren't an inventor yet, we like to think that every American has the potential to be an inventor. They can support us by going out there and buying your products. So over the years, Mike, you've been to dozens and dozens of different professional shows.
Yes, I have.
Which ones have you gone to, and how did you identify those as being the right ones, or was there a trial and error?
It's not really trial and error. It's getting into the field that you're in. Both of my products are in the hospitality industry, and so that really pointed me where I was going. I went to the National Restaurant Show, the Texas Restaurant Show, Cisco food service shows, McDonald's shows. I probably went to, 100 McDonald's trade shows over the years. And again, like you said, inventing is the greatest thing on the planet. So I encourage everybody to get into it because you just don't have any more fun than inventing something and taking it to market. And the trade shows help you with that. And so you don't learn anything until you go to a trade show and find out where you are. So.
Well, I loved your line that you sent me. It says, the only way a dream dies is if you quit.
Yes, that is a fact.
And I almost wrote that into my, newsletter and figured, no, I better ask Mike first because the last thing I want you to do is read the newsletter and say, wait a minute, I'm the one who told her that, because you're exactly right. And we have, believed that forever and ever. It's like, you don't get to the top of the mountain by looking at it. You've got to take the first step. You're not going to see your dreams come true if you just think about them. You got to give God something to work with, right?
Absolutely. Yeah,
and go ahead.
Yeah, we've been doing the heavyweight, like I said, for 29 years. And you just never know when it's going to happen. Looks like Costco's taking us on and some other companies. So again, you just never know what's going to happen. If you're not ready, you're not ready. So always stay in the game.
Absolutely. So tell our listeners, since we're talking about those professional trade shows, share with our listeners, why is the professional show give you a bigger bang for your buck than going to the consumer shows, the ones that anybody can walk in off the street?
I would say that you just get a better feel, I think, for how the industry is going to respond to you. You get the names that you need to get going, because you need the corporate people. And the only way you're going to get that is at the events where the corporate people are.
That's right.
So when you're doing to the consumer, again, one of my product is for the consumer. It's just, what are you selling? Are you selling it there? Is it hard for them to carry around? There's just a lot of things that go into it that you don't learn until you go to a trade show. Everything that you do is learn. So there is no bad step because everything's a learning step. And so,
right. And I always tell people, I say, you decide what your next step is going to be based on the information you gathered at the last step. And there is not a one-stop shopping on this. It is, a learning curve for sure. But when you go to the professional show, you learn. Not everybody wants the same packaging. So what are you going to do? You want to talk to the people that have got hundreds of buyers, not one that says, oh, I think I'll get this one for my mother for her birthday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And those professional shows are dealing with the store owners and the buyers. And, you can talk to people then. It's like, what do you mean you don't want this kind of packaging? I got 25,000 of these in my basement.
Yeah. Just the biggest thing is just to go into a trade show knowing that you're going there to learn. It's not about how many products you're going to sell, because you just get yourself all set up on expectations that don't happen. And so you really just have to go at it as a learning experience. And that's everything with inventing, because to be honest with you, that's the ride, is the learning. Who knows? There's so many hurdles you have to get over. And so you have to learn on the way. So,
well, and that's wonderful, because one of the things that so many of my inventors, when we went to ASD Market Week, they had never been to a show before. And that's one of the things that, they go with us and, they get to see what it's like to be at a big show and how to prepare themselves for the show they want to go to. And so it's like, oh my gosh, I learned so much. I learned, what kind of visuals I need. I learned, about packaging. I learned about how to give the pitch. When they say, well, everybody told me I need to practice, my pitch deck. It's like, get rid of that term, because, when you're selling the product, they don't want the same pitch that you would give a banker to get a loan.
Yeah. So, and you learn at trade shows how hard a work it is. It is not easy at trade shows.
That is for sure.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, to go to those trade shows, and you're on your feet all day long. I tell people, hey, you know what? They say, oh, we're going to a show. Nope, you're not. You're working from 9 to 6 every day. So anyway, thanks, Mike, so much for being on. We're going to get you all linked up so that we are streaming your information, and we are going to go and pay some bills. So if you are an inventor out there, or someone who is, and you've got questions, join us at the Inventor Roundtable meetings. We do them twice a month, and they're free. And if you want to be on the show, get in there and fill out that form for me, just like Mike Martin did. And that is how he found me, filled out that form. Thanks, Mike, for being on today. And everybody stick with us, because now we have got our industry expert coming up next.
And now, back to Invent America from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country. Home Talk USA, with your host, the Cajun contractor Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
Hello, America. Thank you so much for being with us this afternoon. We do invent America because, again, you've heard me say it 1,000 times, America invents. But then we get ready and get everybody teed up and we go to the best trade show in America. And Stephanie, I am, I'm being really straight with you on that. When we went to ASD Market Week, we met so many people. I mean, it wasn't just about showing off our products that we were taking with us. I met for the first time, people for fulfillment, people for packaging, the guys that do the R&D tax credits. We've got all these inventors there that never even heard about it. And now they're on the radio show and sponsors of Invent America because they need to reach all of these inventors. So thank you for having us. Thank you for taking such good care of us at ASD Market Week. Thank you for being a sponsor of Invent America because you want new products there. And thanks for being with us today.
Rita, I am so happy that you came. You did everything right. You put together a group of fresh, innovative product. You put them all together in one spot and you did the pre-marketing and everything. So I think it's a big thank you to you for bringing it all together.
And, we're looking forward to our next one, but you've got a show coming up in August. Tell us about ASD Market Week August.
That's right. So it's August 4th through the 7th. It is at the Las Vegas Convention Center. And we're so excited. You mentioned it. We bring such a diverse crowd. We're very inclusive. We have retailers from the hardware sector, from the gift sector, travel centers, any kind of retailer you can think of and imagine. We bring them together because we have such a vast, wide product range for them to go and kind of dig around. So we're excited for August. Nothing too big of changes except for the product that's going to be in those booths. So I would say do some preparation before you hit that show floor and get ready to find some real gems.
Well, when we were there, one of our inventors, she made her first wholesale sale.
So exciting.
And, I know she was, oh my God, I thought she was going to dance on the table. And she was just thrilled. She had inventory with her. It's a small product. And this, store owner came by and she does women fashions and she bought 30 of them right there. And so that was exciting. But we had the lady that won the Innovation Award, she had a new jewelry closet. And she's got an offer from a company out of Canada. And then we had Cindy Duncan. Cindy Duncan invented her chaps, 17 years ago, her patent issued. So she's getting ready to file some new intellectual property. But she had an offer from a company in California to license her chaps. And then we had the regular tools. So it was everything.
It's so good. And for innovators, it's so stressful. You've put blood, sweat, tears into creating a product. You've gone through all the logistics of getting it where it needs to be. So I think when you get to a major trade show event like an ASD Market Week, meeting that one person or multiple people that you can have conversations with and then say, my product has a home. It's such a great feeling. And we love hearing stories like that.
So now how you work in the sales and marketing part of ASD, tell us what you do.
Okay, so I work on the attendee side. I've actually been with ASD Market Week for 9 years. I used to work on the sales side, bringing in exhibitors and setting them up right. And now I connect buyers so that they can specifically find the right product and maybe find something that they didn't even know that they needed in their store, because that new thing that they didn't think they needed often yields great profits for them. And it excites those consumers where they're like, where did you get this? And we're so happy and we want to buy it and we'll come back and we're going to increase our basket size. So I work on the buyer side. We make sure that they get to that show side and that they're ready to do their order writing and that they find what they need to find. And again, what maybe they didn't know they needed to find.
Exactly. And, so many buyers and store owners, they want to see what's new coming into the marketplace. It's easy to find the stuff they've already ordered and they're just, refilling it. But they want to see what's new, what's going to excite their customers.
Absolutely. Innovation breeds profit, and the right innovation, it doesn't matter the cost. If they see potential in a product and they know their consumers best. So when they go to that booth and they say, I know I can sell this to my customer base, that is their sweet spot. That is exactly what they're looking for. That's why they trek it all the way to Las Vegas. They are looking for that. That is their prime goal and objective going to the show.
Well, and they were wonderful because a lot of our inventors who were there and just had, prototypes, they were there to gather information. And the attendees that were walking the floor that say, oh, did you think about doing it like this? And oh, this might, you need to hit this kind of price point for this. So there was like, oh my God, I learned so much stuff. Some of them were going back as like, all right, I've got to hurry up and, get some additional intellectual property filed. And oh, I need to change my prototype to do this. And, I need a different manufacturer because I've got to hit these price points. And, your people that were attending were wonderful for our inventors. So we had the inventors who were taking orders. About half of them were able to take orders. And then we had the other half that were really looking to gather that, critical information on how to take the next step.
It's so good. And I have to tell, for inventors, when you go to a show, especially ASD, we want to give you a voice to the market. And we do offer a lot of complimentary items for you to get that exposure. So whether it's our show vendor that goes out to buyers before you even hit the show, or we have display cases, they're free. And they're such a great way for someone to say, oh, I saw this product. Where do I go find them? And then they can go to your booth. So we're here to support it. We know that money's tight. So use us, lean in on us so that we can help support those efforts and connect buyer and seller.
Yeah. And, there is nothing that replaces the face-to-face. You get a store owner, that's going by. And if he saw it, on a YouTube video and say, oh, that's kind of cool. When he's actually able to use it, he's standing there and able to, hit a hammer with it or something, it's like, okay, this is really cool. How soon can we get these?
It does make a difference.
Exactly. I mean, we had one of the guys that had a booth. He must have come over to our booth, twice a day for the entire show because he was able to come over now and say, okay, I really like this one. I want to license this one. Oh, I really like this one. How fast can we get inventory in? And we'd never met it before.
And that's the perk of meeting the decision maker. You can make that commitment at show site, which it's a beautiful thing.
It is. It is a beautiful thing. Hey, America, thanks so much for being with us today for this portion of Invent America, because America invents. If you're out there and you need some help, reach out. We have vetted service providers in every category. And you know what? A financial catastrophe by picking the wrong service provider. Oh my God, it happens all the time. And people call me complaining. And it's like, I can't do anything at this point. Needed to talk to you a few months ago. So inventors out there, give us a call, reach out, check our online services, get on the meetings, Inventors Roundtable. We have them twice a month. So everyone out there in America invents all the time. It's the dream of almost everyone to become an inventor. And that is what we help you with. Stick with us for our next hour and join us next week for another segment of Invent America.